All right, boys, finally, football is back, college is back, NFL's coming up. Prize Picks has the best deal right now for football season. Use code NELK and just put in $5 on your first lineup and you're instantly gonna get $50. No strings attached on Prize Picks right now. So, if you guys have never tried the Prize Picks app, you've got to try it out for football, all right? We stayed firing during summer. We weren't. You got to stay in a degen during summer, but football is back every single weekend. We are going to be posting Prize Picks. There's nothing like firing on football. You guys are probably doing fantasy and stuff. If you guys know what players are going to perform in college and in NFL, download the Prize Picks app. This is the app for you. I have tried every single app out there when it comes to firing on sports, and Prize Picks is by far the best. Instead of choosing teams, you're choosing individual players. So each player has a set projection, and then it's up to you. You either go more or less in that set projection. The more you put together, the more your picks is going to multiply, the more money you can make. So guys, take advantage of this code. This code is a sweet deal. Use code NELK, put in just $5, and you're instantly gonna get 50. Beautiful, beautiful deal. Take advantage of that. That's for you boys. Download the Prize Picks app. Football is officially back. Thank God. Let's get on the pod.
Good, boys.
Good.
What's going on?
Wow, what a crib.
You're looking good.
Thank you, you too.
How's
Thanks
everything?
for having us.
Of course.
Nice spot, god damn.
Yeah, let me show you the back. Every house is on the water, every one of them. Ray Kroc lived here, Dave Thomas lived here, KFC founder lived here, billionaires, I think 6 billionaire family. That's Messi's place.
That one?
George Clooney's my neighbor in LA.
You live in LA still.
Yeah.
Why are you still in LA?
It's just easier for me. Everyone's there, bro.
Chick? Is that it? Gotta be kidding me.
It's a beautiful state, bro.
Go down here this way to Miami. 15 minutes, you're in the middle of the ocean.
Crazy.
On a Sunday, Saturday, thousands of boats will come by here. The yacht show, this is the place to be.
Next spot, Miami maybe, or maybe 2 spots from now.
How often do you sit out here? Just hope somebody drives by and goes, PBD.
All the time, not for that, but all the time. We'll sit out here and it's just relaxing when sun hits you. So you know, sometimes you're like not using the house. We use this house a lot. You ever read the book No More Mr. Nice Guy?
I have not.
No.
So it's a very good book that talks about how, you know, the average man, boy, who's raised by a mother mainly, say parents got a divorce and mom raised them, has to read this book, No More Mr. Nice Guy. But everybody that I ever recommend this book to read and say they're married, they immediately have a big fight with the wife after they read the book. Because it's a dramatic difference of what it is to be a man raised by a man versus a man being raised by a woman.
What's the main difference or takeaway?
Stop being a nice guy. Stop trying to be like, you know.
As a father?
As a husband, as a man, as a father, like everything is trying to make sure everybody is happy around you. Certain things is about standards and expectation. But boys who are raised by moms alone, they're more coddled, they're soft, you know, they're sensitive, they're, you know, they have a different way. I was raised by a mother. My dad was not in a picture for 6 years. So eventually my training for me was going to the military. 3 years, they kick your ass and they don't feel bad for you at all. So that's a major shift you got to make.
So how does the wife get upset? Like, what do you tell the wife that needs to change?
Because a lot of times it's, you know, the husband is trying to make every decision to make the wife happy. Who's the leader of the household? Sometimes it's not about making a wife happy. I'm the leader. Here's what we're going to be doing. So one, as a man, you have to win the moral authority to be able to have that kind of, you know, standard and tone. If you don't win the moral authority, you're always worried about making her happy. So step number one is you got to win the moral authority. But if you have it, and you don't drive and lead the family, then you're raising soft boys.
So to win the moral authority from the wife, though, that means you can't be whipped at the same time.
No, you cannot be. No.
What's the best steps to not be whipped by the wife or the girlfriend?
So whipped normally doesn't last that long anyways, right?
For
If
some
you
guys
think
it
about
does.
Well, in marriage or relationship.
Yeah, there's a difference. I think in
ma-
marriage, that goes away.
In marriage, it's different because
Relationships, though.
in relationship, yes.
Well,
But-
you're talking to someone who's kind of going through that. Personally.
You or him?
Whipped?
Him.
He's whipped?
I'm whipped. I've never seen a whip. I've never seen a whip in my life.
He could tell, no, you're good.
I've
No,
never seen a whip in
I'm
my
actually glad
life.
we're on this topic because we're not whipped. We don't get controlled by. We make the calls. He's kind of going through the whole she's there at all times, can't be separated, makes his schedule revolve around her.
He's
so
capping so hard.
We're trying to fix that.
For him, you should help him
part of
out.
the reason why we're here today.
So he's like, Dr. Phil, it's Dr. Steiny. I like that.
Yeah.
It's very impressive. No. Look, I've been on the whip side myself where it was like one day I'm so whipped with this one girl. Let's use this frame, okay, this word. And I'm crazy about this girl. I'm 21, 22 years old. Everything to me revolves around this girl, okay? I'm in love. Drop dead gorgeous. I got out of the military. Every guy wanted to be with this girl, and she's with me. And chaos in the relationship starts going to a whole different level. I go from playing to fully being committed. Okay, I'm going to be fully committed to this. And then one day, you know how sometimes in life, extreme men, extreme people typically go like this. We don't know how to go like this. We go from here to here, right? Like you go from a relationship that's like this to this. You don't realize this is also a mistake. We got to go like this, right? We got to go here a little bit, right? So this relationship is chaotic, fighting all the time. Nothing can make her happy. But I'm also not making money at the time. I'm barely like trying to build my insurance business. You know, it's problematic. It's issues, chaos. And then the mother sits me down one day and she says, Pat, can I give you feedback? Her mother and I would have dinner every night at 11 o'clock at night. I'd finish my last appointment. I'd come home. She'd make me borscht. She'd make me food. And we sit down, we talk. Her and I were like this. And she says to me, you're too good for my daughter. I said, what do you mean? She says, you're too good. It says, too much. My daughter can't do anything wrong in your eyes. I said, it's a little too much. Russian lady. And I'm talking like mob style, like tough, but a sweetheart. I love this lady. She said, this is not going to work. She's in the garage. She hears the conversation. She comes in. Why are you saying this to him? What kind of a thing is that to say to the guy your daughter is dating? But I'm right. Look how he does to you. Look how he is to you. And then 2 months later, relationship ends. We're supposed to get married, all this stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not ready for a relationship for a minute. I got to figure this thing out. And I'm 24, 25 years old at the time. We break up August of 03 is when it happens, give or take, somewhere around that time. And then adjustment comes. I read a book. All I do is I read books on relationships. I read this, book I told you about and a couple other books about what it is to be a man and be a leader. And I'm like, no, this is not how we're going to do it. My wife the other day, we're having a conversation about HR, on how we recruit people. We're in New York sitting down having a meeting with Goldman Sachs, David Solomon, all their major, highest ranked people at Goldman Sachs in New York. We had a 7-hour meeting with them. Very intense. A part of it was about the technology, Manek. So we met with their TMT team, technology, media, telecommunication. We met with their biggest money manager, private investment banker that manages $1.2 trillion of wealth. All these people are during the meeting.
Real quick, you said your wife was with you in the meeting?
Absolutely. She's in the meeting with me. We're there, and then we leave, and I'm asking David Solomon. I said, hey, David, during COVID, there was 2 articles written about you that really challenged the Goldman Sachs culture. I like the way you handled it, but I want to hear a little bit more. Goldman Sachs got criticism saying young bankers and brokers at Goldman Sachs are asking to only work 80 hours a week and have Saturdays off. Mm-hmm. Bankers are asking Goldman Sachs to allow them to only work 80 hours a week. Keep in mind, to only work 80 hours a week. 80 hours on 5 days is what? 8 to 12.
Yeah.
Or 7 to 11. Or 6 to 10, 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night. Crazy schedule, 16-hour days, times 5 days a week. That's 80 hours a week, right? And one of them says, the toxic Goldman Sachs environment of working 100 hours a week. Article. And I said, how'd you handle it? He says, look, Goldman Sachs is a great company, but it's a tough job. So then I ask everybody around, I'm like, hey, when somebody gets fired, how do you guys fire somebody? He says, oh, it's very interesting how you get fired here. So what's that? He says, sometimes a coworker will come and fire you. I said, what do you mean? He says, sometimes, like, does he report to him or no? Who doesn't report to who? Does he report to him?
No one reports to Steiny.
That's the key. So no one reports to Stein.
That's a longer story. Not in this room.
But let's just say he doesn't report to him.
Yeah.
And he's getting out of line. Mm-hmm. Okay. He would go to him and say, hey, man, I got to tell you, it's not working out. Today's your last day. You already know the culture of Happy Dad, or you all know how full send. That's the culture at Goldman.
That'd be a bit.
How does the coworker have that authority?
Well, because it's standards ran by peer pressure type of environment. Then he says, you go meet with HR. Today's your last day. Okay.
Can we do that here?
I don't think there'd be anyone left.
Actually,
true. That's
Kyle, today's
You would have
meeting-
fired Gabe 10 times. Gabe would have fired you 200 times.
Yeah.
Check this out. That
Jimmy would be
environment-
homeless for 2 years.
This doesn't work in every company, especially not media.
Yeah.
This is not media. This is investment bankers trying to raise money where the minimum to become a client of Goldman Sachs, you need to bring $10 million of cash. This is a very hard job, right? However, the whole thing comes back to us, the way we recruit people at HR. Too many times people recruit people and they're selling the dream. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. We're such a great company. This is such a fantastic place to work. We're such a work-life balance place. Right before this, I was having a meeting with my chief HR officer, RJ, who used to be at Microsoft in the early 2000s, and then he was the HR guy at Uber and at Chevron. He's been around. He's very good. He says, at Microsoft, the first thing they told you in the interview was, look, I just want to tell you at Microsoft, what do you think about work-life balance? Why? Great. We could care less about work-life balance. It's not a priority for us at Microsoft. Imagine saying that in the interview. So my wife and I, let me bring you back to the relationship conversation we started off with. When my wife and I got married, not the girls I was with, my conversation, because I knew what I wanted to build and how long of a run I wanted to go on, the conversation with my wife was, are you sure you want to marry me? You sure you want to do this? It wasn't one day. It was, you sure you want to be with a crazy guy like this that's nonstop? Are you sure you want to do this? We had some of the biggest fights because she would say, what else do I need to do to convince you I'm in? I'm not afraid. What do you want me to do? Like, we had these types of, who do you think you are? Of course I can handle being with a guy like you. So then when we got married and I'm on the road 6 months out of the year, we talked about it. So the way I married was selling all the bad up front, then giving her the dream. She lives here. She's very happy. Her life, very happy. She chooses to go to work right next to me, very happy. This doesn't mean our marriage is guaranteed to work 10, 20 years from now. I'm just telling you, we've been together 15 years, but this is how I sold it up front versus the way typically men like to sell it, only the dream. And sometimes the Mr. Nice Guy concept, we sell it the wrong way. That's all I'm saying.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Because then you're telling them the bad shit up front.
If you know you're going to deliver on the back end, guess what? What are you worried about?
You don't do that much, right?
What?
Talk about the bad shit up front.
No, I just show them.
Because also when you want to smash,
I just say, yo, you come hang out with me for a month. You decide after that. But I have two questions based off what you just said.
Let's hear it.
The first thing is going back to talking about kids working, because you have a lot of young hustlers that do those 80-hour weeks, right? I have friends that have been on Wall Street, work for Google, Amazon, and they're completely miserable. But out of college, you can make $250,000.
Yeah.
So what do you say to those kids when you see someone like that that's completely miserable 6 days out of their week, right? The majority of your year, you're miserable. But they stick with it and they stay there, but they're unhappy.
Guess what? That's the problem. It's not for everybody. Okay, so one day I'm at Houston, Texas. This couple, Marcelo and Gabby, we're at Capitol Grill. I'm entertaining 50 people we're having dinner with. Husband and wife walks in, Rodolfo and Ceci. And I stop the room, I go straight to them, and I start talking to them. And they pull me aside and they say, can I ask you a question? The weirdest question, but I love this question. They said, why is it that whenever they walk into the room, you stop and go straight to them? Why do you do that? I said, because they're the number one people in the company. They've earned the right. I said, wait a minute. Do you want that kind of respect? We do. Let me get this straight. You want to walk into a room and you want the room to stop for you? Yes. No problem. Do you know what kind of schedule they got? Do you know what they do? Do you know how many books he reads every month? Do you know da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Yeah. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to wait 10 years? Are you willing to do? Yes. Great. Go do it. Guess what? They went from then, in the insurance business, they were making 80 grand a year. Okay. To this year at MGM Grand Arena, we had our annual convention 2 weeks ago. They're at 920 annual income selling insurance. They went from 80 to 920. See, that question is a sign that somebody wants to get that kind of respect when they walk into a room. Okay, you can go to a wedding. You guys been to a lot of weddings. You go to a wedding. A lot of people show up to a wedding, and then that one person shows up to the wedding. What happens? Everybody looks at the door. Right now, you experience this a lot when you guys go places. People, oh my God, they're here. You're experiencing that, right? But then there's levels to it. So if a guy doesn't want to work those kinds of hours and could care less about the 250. That's why sometimes those guys go and get a $65,000 a year job, just becoming editors because they're happy. They go and become producers because they're happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. That job at Goldman, the job of driving with that kind of pressure isn't for everybody.
Do you ever hit points though where you let the pressure get to you? Like, I mean, you're human too, so there's got to be points where you're like, you get tired and exhausted,
Absolutely.
and everything's just going wrong. I know that happens to me too. Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So,
But also keep pushing forward.
I got a book for you guys to read. I got two of them, but one of them you got to read. It's 38 letters John D. Rockefeller wrote his son. Oh my God. Good luck putting that book down. One of the chapters, by the way, I don't know if you guys know what John D. Rockefeller did. When he was 10 years old, he says he's got two dreams in life. One is to be the richest man in the world. One is to live up to 100. He becomes the richest man in the world, and he dies at the age of 97 and a half. In 1937, like, do you know what the hospitals advancement is in 1930s? The life expectancy for a person in 1937, 38 was 50 years. You live 97 years old? That's kind of like today. The average life expectancy, it's like 160 because the average life expectancy today is what, 80? You live 2 times that? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
So this guy had a vision. He writes one of the letters. He says, Dear John, to his son, today's one of the most terrible days of my life. Mr. Benson, my greatest rival, just died. If it wasn't for Mr. Benson, I wouldn't have been driving to get to XYZ level. One day, Mr. Benson called me the greatest predator he ever faced because he hated losing to criminals, but he didn't have a problem losing to me because I at least did business the right way. He writes a letter about his greatest rival dying to his son. He says, in life, you have to choose the right rivals, especially the ones that get the best out of you, right? He's explaining all this stuff. Letter number 33 or 34, he talks about blame. He says, too many people are in the blame game. He says, one day, Andrew Carnegie comes up to him for advice. He says, hey, question for you. And Carnegie was like God in America at the time. And Rockefeller was here until Rockefeller passed him up. So imagine like Bill Gates, Musk. And then Musk becomes this, right? So Bill Gates comes to Musk for advice, like that kind of a situation. And says, why do people like working for you? Everybody I talk to, they like working for you. Do you feel like you're gonna take over the world? He says, because we don't play the blame game. He said, what if somebody does get something wrong? He says, it doesn't matter. Everybody's job is to take full responsibility. But if you screw up, I'm not in the job. I'm beating you up, blame, all this other. I'm not going to be doing that. By the way, that's a challenge to all CEOs, right? And he goes through some chapters talking about how sometimes you're going to feel sorry for yourself. Because a lot of the chapters he talks about, as the richest man in the world, he's trying to plead to his son. Every time the media wrote something bad about him, he's telling his son in a way to not believe the hype, not believe the negative articles. In 1906, 1901, he's writing a letter to his son. This other publication said this about me. They said, all I care about is money. All I care about. This is a man that was the richest man in the world that was still so upset by what media was saying about him that he was writing a letter to his son to say, I'm doing the right thing. They don't understand what I'm going through. For as long as we're going to be humans and we're not going to have a chip in our head that's going to get rid of the emotions, we're going to feel those things. But what does end up happening, Kyle, how much do negative comments bother you today in the podcast?
Not as much as they used to.
That's the point. It's like, oh my God, look at the podcast Pat did with, Dan, and look at the amount of hate he's getting and death threats and all this other stuff. Great. This is my position. Here's where I'm at. I'm comfortable with it, but I understand the messaging that's coming in, and you kind of watch it and say, so what are people saying? Got it. Okay, well, guess what? In life, and this kind of goes back to the question, because this is kind of the topic I've been processing a lot lately, you have to be very careful trying to win over the mob.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the hardest thing to do, Kyle. So let's just say this is your fan base, true fan base of Happy Dad, Nelk Boys, this is you guys, that you guys do such a freaking awesome job here. My 10-year-old son is upset with me that we're doing a podcast today at 1 o'clock because he can't see you guys because he's in school. He's upset because he wanted to see you guys. Because last time we were trying to do something.
Yeah.
How is my 10-year-old a fan of you guys? You have this fan, okay? And age varies, right? And I'm a fan.
That's on the youngest side of us too.
I know, but what I'm saying to you is like, I'm a fan of you, what you posted 2 days ago. I even told you that last time when I said, when you guys do that, I love it when you do it. We got 5, 6, 7 million views you posted. A simple 30-second clip, lady gets pissed off. Are you a he, she, all that stuff, right? So I'm also a fan. So you have a 10-year-old and a 45-year-old that's fan of you that wants to see you guys win, right? Okay. Now bring the mob. The difference with the fans sometimes, fans are not louder than the mob. The mob uses guilt. The mob uses, you're an idiot. The mob uses, you're about to lose everything. The mob says, oust them. Stop buying Happy Dad from them. Screw them. Da-da-da-da. And you're like, oh my God, what do we do with the mob? Let's hire a PR firm to help us with the mob. You ain't never going to win the mob over. So eventually when you're by yourself or collectively as a team, you sit there, you make a decision and say, guys, I'm sorry, stop. Who are we trying to win over? Tell me, let's make a list. Boom, boom, boom. Great. Who else? Boom, boom, boom. Great. Who would we like to win over, but if we don't, we're okay? This guy. All right, cool, 50-50. Who do we not care to win over? These guys. I'm not worried about what they say. So whatever they want to say, let them say it. I'm not trying to win them over. I'm totally fine if they hate me. If they don't, I'm good with that. But this is my base. And here's what I'm going after. Sometimes as an operator, as a content creator, as a talent, as a husband, as a CEO, as a leader, that part's going to be confused. But the more you can just pause and say, who is my community? Who is, our true audience? I'm not trying to please the mob. They're going to be around for a long time. You're never going to make them happy.
Negativity also is always going to be more powerful than positivity.
There's no question about it. You're right. That's a very powerful statement. You're right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the whole thing that says, an unhappy customer will tell 11 other people. A happy customer will only tell 3 other people. Mm-hmm. But that's the part with the mob.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. The other thing, this is kind of switching up, going back to the relationship. You said about how trying to manage. You said you were a little crazy with the first girl, and then you talked about commitment. When do you decide like, this is the one? I got to cut out all the other females and just be committed.
Are you done playing? Are you in the school of thought of, like, for example, Kardashian? Does she want to be Elizabeth Taylor, married 8 times? Larry King, married 8 times? Where do you put the value in life of who you want to be, of being a husband, a father? So if you privately sit there and say, when I die, do I want to be known as a great husband? Maybe it's in the top 20. It's not my number 1. Okay. Or do I want to be known as a great father? Maybe it's a top 5, but not number 1. It's a number 1. Okay. So if it's a number 1, you have to approach life in a different way. When I die, do I want to be the guy that smashed the most? And do I want to be that cool guy? And like, is that what I want to be? Where they're going to be like, oh my God, you've been with that. Yo, that's crazy. My grandfather's a playboy. And so, okay, great. Or do I want to kind of like when Ronald Reagan went through his first divorce, he was with Jane Wyman, I believe, the beautiful actress. And, when he was with her and he got a divorce, one of his mentors gave him an advice, very interesting advice. You know what the advice does? He says, look, you've played the Christian life your entire life, and you've been a good boy. Guess what? You're probably going to get married in the next 2 to 5 years. This next 6 to 12 months, go run a you-know-what. Go through them. Yeah. Stack it up, because you're never going to have this chance again. You know what Reagan did right after his divorce to his first marriage? He just ran. That actress, this person, and then he's like, now, you know what? I don't want to do it. Then settled down, married, Nancy, the rest is history. So that's the processing that you as an individual have to do privately and make a decision who you want to be.
But it's kind of like when you know, right? Would you say from personal experience or no?
I think
like when you're done, you're done.
Well,
or no?
No,
I disagree. No.
Yeah.
Well,
going up the presidency, but what he's saying too is like, you even look at Clinton, like in Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah.
Like, he's the president of the U.S., married, supposed to display himself a certain way, and he's still like dogging it up in the.
But that's Hillary Clinton too.
But he's right. So
okay,
everyone's gonna dog on Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Let me tell you, if you, how many people are married to somebody that they're miserable, and they're just trying to make the marriage work because the kids, and they're waiting till the kid is 18 years old to get a divorce. Like, you ever seen a movie Couples Retreat? You ever seen Couples Retreat, the movie? John Favreau, the actor, the guy that plays the part with the other girl, and she goes to the singles island, and he follows her to the singles island, and then she's with the other, you know, not Monsieur Marcel. What's the guy, the thong guy? What's his name? Anyways, the guy, the yoga guy, right?
Yeah.
He's hanging out with her, and then finally they're like, look, all we have to do is wait until she's 18. Okay, I don't want to do this anymore. They're waiting until she's 18 to get a divorce. When the guy that wrote the script for Couples Retreat, what do you think he did? He probably took 4 couples that he knew in his life, and he just wrote their story.
Yeah.
But how many people relate to that one? A lot of people. So that's the part where you don't want to be at. And a lot of times that happens when you're not talking about stuff that you don't like about what she or he is doing. And you're just kind of like trying to just be a little bit too much of this. And that's also a problem. Because what is it if you're going to come home and you don't feel like having sex? Is that a good place to be? Or what, you come home and he's not clean. He's put on 40 pounds, 50 pounds, got a belly, didn't used to have a belly, you know, not taking care of himself, or she doesn't take care of herself. There's smell, breath, all this other stuff. Like, this wasn't you before. Why are you not working on yourself anymore? So you're not who I married. You're 60 pounds heavier. You're not who I married. You used to smell good. You smell bad. You're not who I married. Your toes are no longer done up. You used to have nice toes. What happened to your toes? All of these things are things you have to talk about. But the way you set up the marriage, my opinion, if you don't set it up in a climate that you can openly talk about the stuff, oh, bro, let me tell you, in a major way, then you're on house arrest. Mm-hmm. And especially if you have kids and you're like, oh, if I get a divorce and then you have a divorce, then she raises the boys, then her beliefs raises the kids. Now, their reflection, it's challenging. So this is why the more fighting you do up front about all of this, double down on the fights up front.
Yeah.
On things that matter. Because you're going to have plenty of things to fight about when you're married. But double down on the fights up front on things that matter to you. Because then later on you can be like, look, we talked about it. What are you doing? We talked about this 2 years ago. Yeah. That's exactly what I told you. Yeah. No, you're right, babe. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. We talked about this. Great. So, and even today, like, you know, where are you finding the girl? Like, if I was single today, you go on a date with a girl, you know, how many times has she swiped right? How many DMs has she responded to? How do you check all of that stuff today? How do you go through all that stuff today?
Hard.
That's the point, right? So the only way you can do it is in the following way. Say he's with his girl for 3 years, okay? And his girl, she has a cousin, Mary. And he and his girl, when they're together, they talk about Mary. And his girl tells him, oh, no, let me tell you how Mary is. When Mary was young, she was this. Do you know she went to a Christian school? Do you know she did this? Do you know what Mary does? Every time I tell her, Mary this, Mary that. Oh, that's great. Guess what? Is she single? Yeah, but babe, she's so picky. Fantastic. Hey, Mary, boom. So that's the best filtering of meeting a girl that way. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for a relationship, if you're looking for just playing, let her rip, right?
Finding girls through a mutual is always the best chance, I think, of success.
Because there's multiple layers of filtering to learn what their background is.
Right, and that person who's connecting you knows both your backgrounds,
that's right,
your history.
But I also think when you meet a chick, this is what Steiny does. He flexes right away. Like, he brings all the weapons out right away, like the restaurants, most expensive hotel. So you're also like making an impression of like day one, this is what it's like. So
I think that's part of the strategy.
But it works in the short term.
Yeah.
But then in the long term, it's like, oh, well, this more of like a, you know?
Well, I think
you got to make them work.
That's in my head, but what I'll do is I'll do exactly what he said for the first month or two. Introduce that good life. By that second month, hopefully they like me for me, and then you slow it down, and you can just hang out.
That's catastrophic to start that way.
That's bad, right?
I like opposite.
Well, I'm like 0 for 10 doing it that way.
I think it's more sauce when they know that you could do that, but you got to make them work for it a little bit too.
That's like, you know, that's kind of like your first 5 times you hook up with a girl that you want to be your girlfriend. Every time you're on Viagra, every single time, and you take everything. So, oh my God, this guy can go for 2 hours. And 2 months later, you're off of Viagra and says, what is this all about?
Yeah,
well, the first 2 months was sponsored by Viagra. Now it's me, naturally. Like, versus the other way around, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, this is what's going on right now, but we can always, you know, build on this, right? So you're taking the play.
Implement Cialis in year 2.
You're writing in your prenup, look, I'm only going to do this much year 3. Maybe by year 5 we'll do this, but not in the first year, right? To see what it's going to look like. No. But again, if you're trying to have fun, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? It only matters if you're looking for a wife.
Yeah.
If you're not looking for a wife, do your thing. For me, I told you right before we got started, I'd love to have 20 kids. I'd have 30 kids if I could. I'd love to. I'd love to call and say, hey, I'm going to make a dinner reservation tonight at 6 o'clock. How big's your party? Party of 24. What do you mean party of 24? Yeah. It's me, my wife, my 20 kids, and the oldest are bringing their girlfriends. Sir, we don't have a table for 24. That's the phone call I want to make. But, we started late. But I'd have 20 kids if I could.
This is what's dope about a pod with PBD. We get to talk everything.
Yeah.
You get to talk chicks, and then we talk politics, we talk life.
Yeah. I mean,
Who else could we do that with?
No one.
Yeah, it's dope.
And
Pat's
great
dope
advice.
with the girl talks.
I know. I've matured a lot, so I haven't been doing that shit. Like this last relationship I went through showed me a lot. Like the girl I was dating, she just then came to me and she was like, hey, just want to let you know I'm going to start at OnlyFans. And I said, yo, this just isn't going to work for me. And so we just ended it. And it bothered me for a while because I was with her for probably a month or 2 before she decided to do that.
Why?
Why what?
Why to bother you?
Because it drives you crazy in a sense where it's like, why is she actually with me?
Do you want her to be your wife?
I didn't know.
Do you want her to be your main squeeze and the only squeeze?
At one point, sure.
Okay, got it. Because for me, if I'm with you, so I had a very basic rule. Here's what my rule was. No one knew who I dated that was my girlfriend because that's a representation of me. Mm-hmm. If I walk in around in public with a girl next to me, that's a confirmation for no. So girls would be with me. I would have a girlfriend for 2 years, never in public. And she said, when are you going to kiss me in public? I'm not doing that. Why not? Because that means you're my girl. I'm not doing that. I'm not there yet. But we do everything together. I totally get it. But I'm not telling the public we're together. If we're together, it's a statement that I'm making. And I'm not ready to do it yet. So that's the part, you know how both sides have to give something up. Like, you know how she gave it up so early. Well, you give it up so early. Why am I giving a public, I'm not doing that so early. Posting a picture early? No.
Dude, I love
when
that.
when can we post a picture together? Minimum 6 months. Not posting a picture with you for 6 months. Are you out of your mind for what? Right. Why would I do that? No. So that is what can you hang on to that you don't give up? Like the whole you gave it up too early, she gave it up too early. The same as guys give it up too early. Mm. I think that's the part where if I'm dating a girl and say I'm your age, I'm not where I'm at right now, married, kids, and she tells me she's OnlyFans and I've never publicly told her, go for it. I don't care. But guess what? When you call me, text me, I'm not calling you back immediately. I call you at 10 o'clock at night when I'm done with my day. Don't expect me to respond back to you within 5 minutes. You're not that important. But the moment you show me respect 6 to 12 months publicly, hey, guess what? This is my girl because she showed me respect for this long. You don't want to show it? Let's just go to the bedroom and have fun. Cool with that. No problem. Hey, what do you guys? I'm going out of town this weekend. Who with? Some girl. Some girl. Not this girl. No.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem too is that men have and that I probably had. But when you, like you were saying, when you show up, let's say you go to a dinner and it's a group of guys, you want that sense of like, damn, he's with her, like she's hot.
Yeah.
So you want to impress. It's almost like a commodity where you want to impress everybody else, and it makes a statement like, whoa, he's with that chick. And I think that also can get into people's heads like, do I actually?
Because in our industry, women are kind of like a commodity.
For sure.
Right?
I get that. And I'm fine with that. But if I'm playing that brand, oh my God, look at those guys. They have all these girls around. They have all this, they have all that. Yeah, great. But I'm not committing to any one of them. I'm always showing pictures with me and 4 girls, me and 5 girls. I'm not showing a picture with me and 1 girl.
Yeah.
No, I'll show. It's always going to be plural, not singular, because singular is a statement. 2 is a Playboy statement, a marketing statement. 1 is a very serious commitment statement. Now, that's the part where you got to be careful. So if you can do a picture with like 8 girls around you, sometimes you do your crazy skits. You wake up in the morning, 2 girls, all the the funny stuff that you do.
Yeah, that's real
I love
life.
it when
That's
you do
real
it.
life,
They're funny as that's real life, but they're funny as hell. Like you do them right. That's great. shits and giggles, whether it's funny or not, nobody takes either one of the girls seriously.
Right.
But if you posted a picture with just one, I'm taking it seriously.
That's a good point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Makes
for
sense.
So that's the part you got to be kind of like protect that.
Yeah.
And you tell them that, hey, this is fun, awesome. I used to have a girlfriend, and she had a sister. We had a great time together. Nobody will ever know about it. That's my relationship.
Yeah.
We had a good time, but it's not a public relationship. It's a private relationship.
Yeah.
Nobody else's business. I'm not trying to, make the statement of that, this is my main girl. No. Protect it.
Have you ever read the book The Sun Also Rises
No.
by Ernest Hemingway?
No.
Okay, that's a book for you.
Okay, good. I like the fact Steiny recommended a book.
Yeah.
What's it about?
It's about a guy that chases this girl his whole life, and she just keeps fading him, getting with guys in front of him. And then at the very end, she's finally like been ran through, kind of beat up, and she comes to him. And he
What
denies
does he
her.
do?
He denies her.
He
He
denies
says,
her.
say sorry, I was here the whole time, waiting for you, and now it's too late.
I love that story.
Damn.
Yeah.
Steiny started reading books.
Good for you.
Dude, Hemingway's goated, yeah.
By the way,
But it's also cool because that literature is so old, so this has been happening forever.
oh, forever. Yeah, but that's the part of whooped part, like men. You ever seen the movie Original Sin
I haven't.
with Angelina Jolie and Antonio Banderas, right? Holy shit, you got to watch this movie because it's that story,
Yeah.
but the guy still says yes.
Oh.
That's
That's how it ends?
It ends with him still saying yes because he was so whooped. Like that is the full on whooped.
Does it end happily, or is it like a letdown? Like, dude, wow,
No,
what are you doing?
it ends with like, what are you doing? Leave her already. That's how it ends. But Angelina Jolie in Original Sin,
Yeah, see, that's
peak.
I might
nine
give
and a
in
half
for
at
that.
the time. It's kind of like when Demi Moore in what was that movie? The song "Ordinary Love," "Indecent Proposal." Demi Moore in the "Indecent Proposal," dime.
Dude, you've seen every movie, huh?
Who else is some prime chicks in movies at their prime? I like Rachel McAdams in Wedding Crashers.
Rachel's a dime. She's in that category.
Obviously, there's Megan Fox, Transformers.
Margot Robbie, Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Margot Robbie's got to be. But if you go back Sophia Loren, if you go Elizabeth Taylor, if you go to like that era as well, unfreaking believable. If you go
The Natural.
Natalie Wood.
Have you seen The Natural
Yeah,
with Robert Redford?
yeah,
That girl was beautiful.
yeah. So that's but Demi's Demi
Yeah.
in Indecent Proposal. And the way she acts and the way she does, even in A Few Good Men, she's a
Oh, A Few Good Men is with Tom Cruise, right?
yeah,
Oh, that's great.
great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, boys, we're gonna interrupt the pod really, really quick. I gotta tell you guys about something I love, Manscaped. All right, I don't advertise anything on the pod. I don't actually use, and I love Manscaped. All right, Manscaped makes the best trimmers. It looks like Elon Musk made it. It looks like a Tesla razor. I've never tried a better razor than this. It's got a bunch of different attachments for different lengths. If you got a jungle down there, it's gonna be taken care of. Jimmy Gambles hadn't got laid in like over a year, and I think he finally got laid thanks to Manscaped. But yeah, boys, summer's almost over. Labor Day weekend's coming up. You're going back to school. You can't be rocking a full bush. And boys, we gotta stay fresh, all right? What I love about Manscaped is on their entire website, not only do they have the best razors, the best attachments to just stay fresh from head to toe, they got all the creams, they got all the butters, they got ball deodorant, ball lotion. So, we're always in the gym. If you get a text from a bird and you gotta go straight from the gym to get a kill, it's not ideal. But the ball deodorant's there for you in emergency situations. Like I said, not ideal, but emergencies are emergencies. Go to manscaped.com. We got you guys on a sweet ass deal. Code NELK is gonna get you 20% off the entire site and free shipping. If you want to get it together, go to Manscaped, shop. They have everything. You don't need to browse around to different sites. They have everything you need to just stay fresh from head to toe, all right? Like I said, you can't be rocking a full bush down there. Rock a little half mullet or a little half trim or something. You can't be going full jungle anymore. It's just not in. It might come back, but not right now. So go to manscaped.com. Use code NELK. 20% off the entire website plus free shipping. That code is for you boys. I personally love Manscaped. I always carry this razor with me when I travel. Manscaped.com, code NELK. Let's get back on the pod.
This just resurfaced, but there's another, Bill Perkins. You know him?
No.
Okay, he wrote a book about how if you make all this money, we're talking about like Carnegie and all these guys,
Yeah.
they want to be as rich as possible,
Right.
right? But he says if you go your whole life and you say you make 50 mil and you leave 25 behind, you're a failure. You didn't live life to the fullest. It seems like now everything's about saving all this money. And by the time you're 70 or 60, 70, you have millions of dollars. You didn't really like enjoy that whole life.
So they see that's the thought pattern of a short-term thinking single man. Okay, because if you talk about the Medici family or the Rockefeller family, or some of those families that created generational wealth and power and influence, they don't think that way. They think in a very different way. So 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I'm in New York with Goldman, but 8 weeks ago, I'm in St. Regis, Chicago. They're doing an event called the Family Founders Forum, okay? And this is about, there's only 60 families invited. Minimum net worth to be invited is $1 billion. We were the poorest family in that room, okay?
But you have $1 billion.
No, I'm not $1 billion. No. So they allowed us to come in because our growth right now is growing exponentially. So they know 12, 18 months we'll be there. So they gave us an invitation. So I'm in the room, and the owner of Chicago Bulls, Reinsdorf, is right there. Father gave him the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Cubs, son is sitting there. The Chicago Blackhawks, the Crown family, they own 10% of General Dynamics. You know, Boeing, General Dynamics. Wow. They own 10% of General Dynamics. Like, the Crown family is like a $15, $20 billion family. And I'm sitting, I'm like, $15, $20 billion, man. I bet all the kids and grandkids are rich. Now watch this. He's on stage. His name is Keating Crown. And he says, I'm the oldest G4. I'm like, what's a G4? So G1 is the person that created the money, created the wealth. Then they give the money to their kids. Their kids are G2s. Then the kids give their money to grandkids. They're G3s. You get the idea, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in the Crown family, he's a G4. He's in his mid to late 50s. He says, I'm the oldest G4. The Crown family has 47 G4s.
Wow.
Did you see what happened right there?
Yeah.
His daughter is the oldest G5 of 150 G5s. She's 12 years old. So I'm like, holy, so okay, let's do the math. So 150 G5s, 47 G4s, that's already 200. How big is the entire family? Let's say 250. 250, $15 billion. You give 15 people, split the 15 billion on 15 is what? $1 billion. You split it amongst 150, it's 100 million. What, are you going to evenly give everybody the money? No. So then that's when they create the criteria of who gets to come in, who doesn't, who is somebody that's going to manage a business, who's going to own some of the business. These are the decisions that these families are already making, right? On how to be, you know, sometimes a G3 becomes a G1.
Yeah.
Because they take the money from their family and they start a new business and they sell that for 1.2 billion. So now they're both a G3 and a G1, right? So when you're saying the guy, the Bill Perkins, 50 million, 25 million, you're a failure if you don't spend the whole money and all that stuff, I totally get that concept. Dana White was on a podcast with Cardone, and Dana says to Grant, he says, yeah, you know, when you talk about the guys that they buy this car, you're talking about me. He says, you're talking about me. And let me tell you something. That's the life I want to live. I want to have my fun, make the money, all this other stuff. That's one argument that you got to make. But there's a reason why money doesn't make it to generation 2 and 3. And Vanderbilt at one point was the richest man in the world. Mm-hmm. Imagine you're the richest man in the world. You know how much of the money went to G2, G3? By G3, it was gone. You go from being worth roughly $200 billion, by G3, it's gone. Because there was no values built on how to keep that wealth in the family. In this book, one of the things he talks about, he says, sometimes in life, all we talk about is generational wealth. He says, too few people talk about generational ambition, generational discipline, generational focus, generational vision, generational values and principles. All we talk about is what? Generational wealth.
Yeah.
What you can give the money, but this is what keeps it. So that's the part where it's the balance of, look, I'm not living in a small house.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like I took the money and I'm living in our family can probably live in a 5,000 square foot house. Why do I need a house like this? Okay, we don't need a boat. We don't need jet skis. We don't need all this stuff. We don't need to, why am I doing this, right? So there's the balance of a little bit of both,
Well,
but at the same time, if you got a vision long-term with your family, you have to think differently.
You don't think there's any negative? Let's just say, for instance, we'll just say what your oldest son gets left $100 million. There's
Yeah.
no party that's like, maybe he's just going to be lazy. He's not going to put anything into this. He's got all the money he needs.
Yeah, but how do you put your living trust in place? You dictate the living trust. You control the knob. Everything in a living trust dictates what he gets and what he doesn't get based on his behavior. Your lawyers who manage your trust and the executor that manages the trust has to follow the bylaws of the living trust. Kids can't screw around with your money if you have it cleared up on how they're going to get the money in the living trust. You can specifically, if you don't do this, you don't do this, you don't do this, you don't do this, you don't get this. And if you do this, you only get this much. But if you do this, you get this much. But if you do this, everything is in a living trust. So you get to, when you make money, you get to hire the right lawyers to set the whole thing up for you. Yeah. The whole thing up for you. So, you know, you don't later on look back and say, oh my God, look at my kids are so freaking spoiled and all this other stuff. It's already going to happen with a couple of your, like if you have four kids, for me to assume that every one of my kids are going to be disciplined and they're going to be net positive to society, I'm delusional.
Right.
But what you can control is how you write the bylaws in your living trust.
So what part of you, because Mick Jagger, the lead singer of the Stones,
yep,
he made a statement, I'm not leaving my kids anything.
Yep.
And it just makes you think, like, with what you had to go through to get to where you are, is there any part of you that's like, wow, I want my kid to have to struggle and not have this head start and just be...
I don't agree with that mindset. You know why? Okay, let me ask you, who built this island?
I don't know.
I don't know. This community's been here for how long? 60 years? Who's lived here? Ray Kroc, Paul Castellano, you know, Dave Thomas. God knows how many people have lived on this island. Messi lives here right now. Luis Suarez lives here right now. Ronaldo's looking at homes right now. Neymar looked at homes here right now. But who built this place before us? Do we deserve to move into a community that's already established and fixed? Maybe after everybody here dies, they should demolish this place and we should rebuild it all up again. That doesn't make any sense. All the freeways that we drive in, who built it? We did? Or the people that were taxpayers before us helped build these roads on the freeway that we can go 95 south to Miami and come back up. Well, we don't deserve it. We should tear it down and rebuild it back up. No, that doesn't make any sense. If America is a family and it's passing generational resources to us, what are those generational resources? A better military, better road, better infrastructure, better ports. We have, you know, Long Beach port. We have a port in Jacksonville. We have ports in Texas. These are ports that they built that we get to take advantage of to have things coming in. Should we destroy all of them because the previous taxpayers paid for that? No. So how does that not apply to our families and the way we should handle our money? I don't understand that concept when people say, I'm not going to give my kids any money. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, the way you said it with the living trust is a bit different. I've never heard of that before.
You control
So if there's
it.
strict regulations on giving the money to your kids, that's a lot different than just handing them money and they can just fuck off and do whatever they want, right?
Off camera, like let's just say if you wanted to talk to one of these guys, they'll tell you exactly how they set it up.
Yeah.
They'll tell you exactly how they set it up, you know, how you set up a slat, how you set up a dynastic trust, how you set these things up where the billionaire families who have come way before us, that figured out a way to put it together where kids can't abuse it. And we should learn from that. That's available to us. That's accessible to us. And if you have money, you can hire those guys.
I want to talk about switching it up, but what you posted the other day on your Instagram about the whole RFK thing, Trump, and the Secret Service.
Crazy, right?
I saw that on your page,
What
and I was
was
like,
it?
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Wait, what was the
So
post? Just so
what I
people-
saw is that basically, I mean, RFK was looking at, you know, joining forces with both parties. I feel like he probably wanted to work with Trump no matter what. I feel like he was just saying that, maybe, but the White House denied him Secret Service, which is crazy.
Crazy.
So basically, he's kind of forced to roll with Trump just out of his own safety now.
You sit there and you're like, the reason why politics is so interesting to me, it's purely strategy.
For
right?
sure.
Like, by the way, even podcasting is strategy.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are very strategic. You guys are not just like a fun brand. Behind closed doors, you're very strategic. And I watch like the strategy of how you guys do stuff and who you align yourself with, who you get favors from, who likes you, what market you're going after, you know, branding of the drink. It's brilliant what you guys are doing, right? It's not just like, hey, we're just going out there having fun. This is all we are. There's strategy behind it, right? Mm-hmm. Trump gets assassination attempt as July 13th. 2 days later, White House assigns Secret Service to RFK because Trump asked for it. 2 days later, he gets it. Wow. Okay. RFK, 2 weeks ago, Kamala Harris, their administration sends out an article to media saying, RFK came to us for a job. He wanted to be part of our administration, but Kamala Harris and them said, no, we're not interested. Now, do you really think that was the case? Or do you really think they knew that he was going to join the Trump camp and he gave them the middle finger that I'm not going to do this? And then they said, let's get ahead of it and let's tell him that we know he's going to go to Trump, that we said no, so we can look better in the marketplace, right? Like the whole concept of I broke up with him first, I broke up with her first, that whole back and forth that people have. Okay, so then RFK goes to Glendale, Arizona, endorses Trump, does the greatest walk-up, which was insane.
Crazy.
That was, the energy was...
That was epic.
That was epic, right? And he hits the stage, and then 2 days later, White House says, RFK, we're no longer offering you Secret Service. So now the 10 battleground states that RFK is no longer on the ballots, he pulled out. He's still on the 40 out of 50, but on the 10, he doesn't want to compete directly with Trump. Now the Secret Service cutting him out. They're saying the safest place RFK can be to get Secret Service protection is when he's right next to Trump. What does that mean? That means every city Trump goes to campaign the next 70 whatever days, RFK is going to be there. Are you kidding? So now I'm going to an event that Trump's speaking, and RFK is also going to be speaking for a few minutes. What are we talking about? To me,
That's crazy.
That's crazy. The 2024 election, the number one draft pick, you said you like NFL, right? You said you like football. You know how there's, not the draft, but free agency? It's like, oh my God, did you see where he went? Did you see where he went? So RFK was a free agent that everybody wants to sign. And it's a very important free agency.
Do you think the Democrats wanted to sign him, though? It doesn't seem like it, right?
I think they need.
I feel like if they wanted to sign him, they would have.
They desperately needed him, though.
They needed him, but I feel like they didn't want to.
But that's part of strategy, and that's the market on November 5th is going to say whether it was a good move or a bad move.
Oh, I think it was a bad move.
I think it's a horrible
obviously,
move.
but
Yeah, I think it's a horrible move. So I think Trump picks him up. So Trump picks him up, then picks up Tulsi, and then today, which is maybe even more powerful than the other two, Zuckerberg yesterday writes a letter apologizing that he was forced by the Biden administration to not report the stories on the Biden laptop and censor some of the stories. He said, we were forced by the government and we had the choice to do it or not to do so. We made the mistake of censoring. That's our fault. What?
that's crazy.
That is insane to me. This is Trump's best week of his election. So far, this is like you just won by 6 touchdowns.
They squashed the DNC shit.
was-
Like RFK the next day was just like,
Yeah. So now this is the part where, you have to look at what Trump's next moves are going to be. My prediction is the Rogan Trump podcast will happen somewhere between October 25th to November 3rd.
you think so?
I think that's
You're
the
good
right
with
time to
predictions,
do it.
right?
I mean, it's a 50-50, but I think Rogan has to do it at this point.
You think-
He has
I wonder,
to do it.
like, why doesn't he?
Because I think it looks like he always talks about how he wants to play neutral.
Yeah, but guess what? Let me tell you, 2 people did it that now he's safe to do it.
Yeah.
Musk had him on first, and then Peter Thiel came and talked to
Right.
Rogan. Peter Thiel is not necessarily a 100% Trump guy. Peter Thiel is a J.D. Vance guy. You guys talk to J.D. Vance. So now Peter Thiel talks to Rogan. Now Rogan endorses RFK. RFK endorses Trump. Rogan likes Tulsi. Tulsi endorses Trump. Musk endorses Trump. The path is open for him if he does it. He's not the first one to do it, so the pressure's off.
You think that'll be the biggest podcast of all time?
Rogan's done a lot of big
I think
ones.
Rogan and Musk will probably still be the biggest.
Rogan's done a lot of big ones.
Yeah.
But I think Trump needs to be I still don't think Trump's been interviewed properly. I still don't think Trump's
Trying to
been
get him on
interviewed
yours,
properly.
huh?
Huh?
Trying to get him on PBD.
No, I think Rogan will do a different kind of a podcast that no one's done.
Do you think any part of like Trump's strategy should be just maybe lay low and stay quiet for a little bit while you see stuff on the Democratic Party kind of going crazy? Like when he's not
Yeah.
as active, and as we all know, Trump can't control himself in certain situations
Yeah.
with what he says. Like maybe he just stays quiet a little bit and just.
Let me tell you what let's just say we're in the room right now. Okay, and Trump's sitting at the head. And we're the strategy team. Okay? Steiny, it's pretty powerful to be in a room like that.
I would love to
right?
be. I don't think I'll be invited for that, but yeah.
Let's just say we are. And you got all the other strategy people in the room as well. 20 people. They say, okay, Pat, what's your move? Here's a marker, take the lead. Go to the board. You know what I'm doing? Going down to battleground cities, the states. I'm getting my data guy to pull up the 10 most influential people in those states. Then I'm going to the influential people with women. I'm looking at stories of abortion. I'm looking at stories of, suburban women who support Trump, who have a big voice. I'm going to the head of soccer moms. I'm going to those stuff, and I'm making a list of a couple hundred names, okay? And I'm saying, who can go after this one? I can make the call. I got perfect. Who knows this one? I got these three. I'll make the call on this one. Who got this one? I got this one. Who got this one? I got this one. Let's roll. Because now, the way you do it now, it's got to be like bam, 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 bam. Every week, he's got to hit them. Every week, he's got to hit them like this until they're suffocating. Until they're suffocating. And then they're saying, you'll take this one. We'll compete in 2028. And we'll make your life a living hell between 24 to 2028 because they're going to do that. But watch what we're going to do in 2028. That's what he has to do. He has to right now just keep.
You think?
You
don't think there's any?
Not him hitting. I'm not saying him hitting.
These people.
I'm saying weak Tulsi, RFK.
Got it.
Boom, Zuck. By the way, you know what the next big pick is? Here's the next big pick for me. Here's what I'd be doing. I'd go have a conversation with Zuck one-on-one, face-to-face. No camera, phones, everything's outside. Hey, check me. I have no wires. You ready? Let's sit down. Zuck, Telegram CEO just got arrested in Europe.
Really?
This guy's got a...
What for? I didn't see that.
I saw that. I can't remember why.
Because of the fact that he allows hatred, comments to be made. He just got arrested in Europe 2 days ago.
I didn't see that.
Oh, it's craziness.
So just because, why?
I thought it was because there was also exchanges going on. They were talking about maybe drug deals, stuff like that.
Yeah, but guess what? There's pedophilia going on Facebook. What are you doing?
Sure.
There's stuff going on WhatsApp, but you're not saying anything about WhatsApp or Signal. Why are you not doing that? So watch this. To me, he writes the letter. Everybody's like, what's he doing? I put out a tweet saying, he's either being honorable, he's either sick of the Dems, or number three, he's getting ahead of a whistleblower. Somebody's going to come out as a whistleblower and throw him under the bus. Guess what? Who gives a shit if a whistleblower is going to come out?
In terms of Facebook?
Facebook.
Well, everyone already knew that was going on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's three. A lot of people, no, it's really number three. Or, number four, he's seeing what's going on with Musk and he wants to be on the good graces of Trump and all this other stuff. Maybe. But number one, I'm going to say something publicly in defense of Pavel, the founder of Telegram. Why? Because the direct competitor of Telegram is WhatsApp. Who owns WhatsApp? Meta. Who owns Meta? He does. Why would you publicly defend him? Because, everybody thinks you're part of the establishment. Zuck has zero friends right now. He just called out the entire Democratic Party. Trust me, no one on the left likes Zuck right now. He is hated. Watch what they're going to do to Zuck. You're going to see accusations with a girl and he did this and rape allegations. You're going to see how Zuck's going to be attacked the next 70 days. They're going to destroy his credibility next 70 days.
Why do you think he did come out and make that statement?
I don't know. I don't know what he's going through.
To me, seems like the type of guy that, and I always think this sometimes too, I think sometimes people automatically assume someone's evil. Like, let's say Zuck.
You're right.
Like, people are like, yo, he's evil, he's censoring. But I also think, let's say the left approaches him and says, yo, you better censor this shit. I feel like some people are in powerful positions and they get forced to kind of do shit that they don't want to do. In a sense.
I'm just surprised.
I'm not saying Zuck's an angel too, but I think, I don't know, it is possible that he could have just got pressured and it's like, dude, I don't want to with these people. I'm just going to play by the rules. I'm happy with my, my life, and I don't want to fear for my life. Well, I'd be scared if I was in that position.
Of course.
Also, what you're saying too, when you make a statement like that, there's a lot of other stuff behind the scenes that went down that we don't even know about.
That's right. So guess what? Who's his friend today? Everybody on the right says, oh, he's coming out because all he cares about is a money set. And everybody on the left is now saying, screw him. What do you mean there was no Russian disinformation? He said that in the letter? Yeah. And it was the most viral topic of the day. So here's what Zuck's got to do. Come out, defend the Telegram CEO, okay? And let him know you don't support that. Number two, announce that you want to do a Facebook Live with Kamala Harris and Trump. Kamala's not going to do it. Let Trump come on Facebook. You interview him. I think the next big interview is Zuck interviewing Trump. Trump will push him. Zuck will say that was the most badass thing I ever saw. That'll get 1 billion views on Facebook, and it'll be talked about all over media. I think the Trump camp next has to do an interview with Zuck, but I think Zuck has to initiate it. Trump doesn't have to initiate it. I think Zuck's got to make that move. If he doesn't, he has to realize that Facebook going up against Twitter right now with Musk doing what he's doing, my prediction by the end of 2028, if Trump is the president, I think Twitter is going to be worth $500 billion because the level of momentum Elon Musk is going to have on positioning himself where he's at with Trump being on his side, it's going to be insanity. And Facebook wants to play this game. You have to take a stand and say, I'm not for this. So guess what? He says yes to Kamala and Trump. Kamala says no. He says, but I invited both people. So what? Why are you upset at me if he does it that way? So if Trump's camp gets Zuck, sweep 49, 50 states.
I think Zuck's loaded too, but he obviously sees Elon and how like cool Elon is, and everyone likes Elon. He probably gets a bit like, I wish I could be that guy too, a little bit. Like he's probably like, you know what? I want to join.
He's popping
I want to
out
join
more.
He's popping out now.
But he's kind of Zuck's a bit of a squid though.
He's fighting UFC fighters.
No, I know, but he's trying to be cooler the last like 2 years. I think he's a bit of a pigeon. He was, but now he's like getting doper.
I agree. And I think the American flag, ski, water. What was he doing? Surfing with like the
Yeah, he's trying to be more of a bro.
Yeah, and by the way,
he's probably a great guy.
He can fight. He can fight.
Yeah.
He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He trains. So there's a lot of good with him. But I think the people that are going to get him is Peter Thiel and Larry Ellison. Why are these guys siding with Trump? I think those are the guys that can give him the feedback and the counsel. But you forget he's only 40 years old and he's worth $185 billion. Realistically, if you put it mathematically, he's the richest man in the world. I know they'll say Musk, but Musk is 14 years older than Zuck. What do you think Zuck will be age by age at 54? Zuck is not a lightweight to just kind of be like, Zuck is $185 billion net worth.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that part, Peter Thiel went on Rogan podcast, and Peter Thiel was the first investment to Facebook. Peter gave Zuck $500,000 for 10.4% of Facebook.
Wow.
Exactly.
Was that before PayPal?
This is in 2004. This is before Facebook was anybody. He had made the money already. Peter Thiel gave him $500,000. They asked Peter Thiel, what's the biggest mistake you ever made in your career? He says, the second chance I had to give Facebook money, I didn't.
Boys, really quick, want to let you guys know about my favorite healthy snack, board jerky. You guys see me, I'm trying to stay in shape. You guys were commenting that I was pregnant all the time in YouTube videos, and it started to hurt me. So I started working out, and I'm always looking for healthy snacks. And this is our new shit, board jerky. What I love about it, especially this original flavor, the macros are fire on this shit. So I'm not snacking on candy anymore, no more like donuts and bullshit like that. Board jerky, I carry this in my backpack when I travel on like planes and cars and road trips. There's 39 grams of protein in this bag. I could gobble this up in 10 minutes. It's only got 2 grams of carbs per serving, 4 grams of fat per serving. If you guys are looking for a healthy snack, high in protein, pretty good on the fats and carbs, try it for yourself. Just order a little bit, try it for yourself, thank me later. This is the most fire beef jerky I've ever tried. Everybody that tries it loves it. The quality is insane. It's available on Amazon right now, so we'll have the link in the description. Try out some board jerky on Amazon. Very, very healthy snack, high in protein. Try it out. Let me know what you guys think.
What were the craziest parts of that letter that like people missed, or just the craziest parts of it?
In the letter?
Yeah.
Well, the exact quote where he says, they approached me. We were not for it. They were forcing us to do this, and then eventually we made the mistake of siding with them, and we did. And then at the end, the last paragraph, he says, "But one commitment I'm going to make: I'm not going to give the same type of support I gave in 2020." Now he got a lot of criticism for that because same means you can be 5% less, you can be $1 million less, you can. It's a gray area answer, right? Versus saying I will be giving nothing.
So he point blank admitted that he favored the left.
There's zero gray area.
That's crazy.
That is like Comey level when Comey said in 2016, the last week of the election, that Hillary Clinton emails, she was like guilty for it, and then Hillary lost last second. This is a very big thing that happened this week for Trump. So now it's just. And by the way, whatever the camp is doing, you got to give them credit because they were getting some heat 2 weeks ago. They're doing a lot of good stuff right now.
Don't you think they were probably pushing any negative anything negative about Trump on Meta, while doing the same thing with hiding the stuff about Hunter Biden.
Oh, the Dems right now are in a very problematic place.
Do you think more stuff's going to continue to come out, or do you think this is Zuck's one statement and that's it?
Well, I
Well,
think
let me
just
ask you-
RFK is just like the DNC was like kind of tough to watch, and it's like, what's gonna happen? And then that next day RFK, then Tulsi, then the Meta thing. It's just crazy.
Well, and also, if you think about it, have you guys seen the message of everybody saying the same thing? Rumors has it that Beyonce is going to be at the DNC, and it's apparently confirmed. Apparently, they have arrived. Apparently, Beyonce just arrived. Rumor has it Beyonce is going to be performing. At least 70, 80 different media platforms said Beyonce is going to be there. She never showed up.
Why do you think?
Well, do you
Let me
think she
tell
was
you, if-
supposed to show up?
Well, that's the question, right? You know Beyonce is going to vote for them anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like she's not going to vote for them. But one, if you're Jay-Z and Beyonce is being told that she's going to be at DNC and Beyonce's sitting next to you in the house, what would you be saying? Would you be like, 40 laws of power? Yeah, I know what they're doing. Let them do it because more people will watch Kamala's speech.
Yeah.
Even though you're not going to be there, don't say anything, babe. Great. Yeah, let's play that card. Kamala Harris' speech got 28.5 million views, 500,000 more than what Trump got. Was that Kamala? Was that because they were waiting for Beyonce? Was that because since we got no primary with Kamala, and would you think Kamala debate any other Democrats? Maybe this was a form of a primary for us to kind of see what she was all about. How many of that 28.5 were Republicans watching it to see what she was going to be talking about? But
Probably a lot.
well, that's the part, right? So I think they're in a lot of trouble right now. I just think Trump's campaign's got to go. You got to suffocate the competition right now.
I think there was
now.
a lot more celebrities coming out for Hillary Clinton.
Then Kamala?
Sorry, for Biden in 2020 than Kamala. Like, I know some celebrities have come out, like Steph Curry, but like, where's the Kim Kardashian? Like, those types of people haven't said anything,
Well,
right?
you got to realize Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Like Kim, she endorsed Biden publicly, didn't she?
Yeah.
Why is she not endorsing the first potential woman president?
Maybe they're keeping it to last 30 days. You know, yesterday Kevin McCarthy and I are speaking, and he's the former Speaker of the House, and he says one thing about election cycle right now, the next 70 days are the equivalent of 10 years. And every day news cycle is gone. Forget about it. Gone. Guys, do you know how many days ago was the assassination attempt?
Like 3 weeks, right?
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks.
It's as if, yeah, next. Dude, the guy almost got killed and everybody's moved on. We think about how you find a way to lengthen the life cycle of a story. You know, when you're a startup entrepreneur and you're only dealing with $1 million, you have to act like you have $10 million and you have to stretch the million as if it's 10 million, right? Because you're going to run out of money. Some of these guys have to stretch this news cycle of the assassination, but the assassination attempt is gone. So now it's the next story and the next story and the next story. So who knows? Maybe they got Kardashian lined up next month. Maybe they got Taylor Swift lined up end of October. They're going to have a lot of surprises. This is the game of politics, man. It's all manipulation, deception, and surprises.
I don't think T Swift can come out publicly with her all NFL shit though.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think she thinks like, oh, I'm gonna get booed at every NFL game, even like more.
Did
For
you
sure.
hear what
That's a good point.
Patrick Mahomes' wife
She
just
probably
said?
loves that NFL shit,
I
right?
saw
Have you
she was
guys had
in-
Mahomes on or no?
I saw she
No.
liked a one of Trump's posts.
You
and
guys
she got a lot
for
of heat.
sure need to have Mahomes on. And for sure you can get Mahomes. 100%. I guarantee
I
you
don't think
Mahomes.
he's gonna want to talk about that though. But that's what it was, right? She liked one of Trump's posts.
But I think she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So you have both of them on, husband and wife. You bring both of them on. And he's going to play diplomatic.
Jackson too.
Yeah, he's been DMing Jackson for like 4 years.
Yeah, but I think you bring both of them on. And this is a podcast for them to be on. Why not? But I think, look, when we were at the UFC fight, you know who was coming and just hugging and taking pictures with Trump? Everybody and anybody. Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
You know, who's the big guy from San Francisco, the linebacker, the monster?
Bosa.
What's his name?
Bosa.
Oh, the guy's by the way, when you look at him, you're like, are those traps? Like, what the hell is that right there, right? The guy's like
Bosa's
this.
a tank.
Yeah.
He
He's
is
a
a tank. So you watch these guys that are coming, and they were just straight up going like, I cannot believe Trump is here. Well, I mean, listen, Joe Burrow's picture's public. Everybody saw that. These guys' pictures was public. So, I think Mahomes' wife taking that position and Mahomes, Kelsey, Taylor. So that Taylor coming out and they just put a party together for Ryan Gosling and Blake Lively, but Blake Lively just made a comment that she got some heat, and I don't know if Ryan Gosling and them are fully on the left. So, I think they're center left. I don't think they're left like crazy left, because Ryan's an entrepreneur. He's a business guy. Freaking phenomenal what he's doing. But yeah, I think again, this is all massaging in relationships, and how somebody that's a good ambassador type plays this behind closed doors. That's the part I'd be doing if I'm part of Trump's camp. But they're doing the right thing right now. They had their best week of their campaign, hands down.
Yeah, they're hyping up Beyonce too. When the best we got was Little John, right? Little John.
Well, I mean, look, you have to realize this election, independents are going to run the 2024 election, not Democrats or MAGA. MAGA's not going anywhere, and Democrats are not going anywhere. It's the middle 20. And that's why RFK is such a big deal. Tulsi's a big deal. Musk is a big deal. Peter Thiel is a big deal. This is what matters right now. Okay, so if you're able to get these guys, which they're doing the right thing, I don't think Dems are getting them.
Yeah.
But again, there's a part of me that's like, I think, if Trump and them go the way they're going with their momentum, this could be like an embarrassing victory.
As of the last week, it's starting to look like that,
Yeah.
right? But like you said, who knows what happens tomorrow, the day after.
Yeah.
But as of now, it's looking really good.
Yeah. I mean, look.
Especially RFK too, I didn't really realize, like, he has such a different message than Trump too.
Yeah.
So I feel like, what he's doing for Trump is crazy. Like him exposing the food industry. And do you know much about what he says about how 70% of the FDA is funded by the pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah. I mean, did you watch the Tucker podcast he just did? He was on Tucker 2 days ago.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to watch it.
I mean, his whole thing right now, if you go to his Instagram profile right now, I think he changed it to Make America Healthy Again. So his slogan is MAHA, not MAGA. It's MAHA, like a Hawaiian slogan, right? Make America Healthy Again. But think about how many people in America who are independent who want to know what happened with JFK assassination. And Trump says he's going to put him to go investigate all the different assassination attempts. What? The nephew of John F. Kennedy, RFK Jr., whose uncle and father were assassinated, that caused him to go 14 years being a drug addict because he didn't think his life was worth living? I mean, think about your two heroes, your dad and your uncle. One is a president, one is about to be a president. They killed both of them. What would you do? How would you be? I don't know, man. I think he goes that side. How many people in America want to find out what happened with the vaccine? How many people in America want to get to the bottom of seeing what happened with China, with Wuhan lab? How many people in America want to find out what happened with the assassination attempts? How many people in America want to know who killed John F. Kennedy? How many people in America? How many people want to know this? Left, right, center. Now Trump is saying that's what he's going to do. I mean, so a part is like, well, is he going to be the director of CIA? Probably not. Is he going to be the attorney general? Who knows, like his father? Is he going to be the guy that's going to be running the Department of Health? And if he goes that route, because NIH reports, I think CDC or NIH reports to that. I mean, he's so versatile because as an environmental lawyer, you have so many places you can put Bobby.
Where do you think he ends up?
I think it's health. Because if he's saying Maha, that's what it is.
How about Tulsi? Does she get a cabinet position?
She could. And Tulsi could get a cabinet position. And Tulsi is not liked by the other side. Tulsi was supposed to speak at our event at MGM Grand. That's the day when the Quiet Skies happened, that they put her on the terrorist list or terrorist watch. She's like, you won't even believe what they're doing to me. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. No. I said, man, do your thing. Totally get it. Craziness. But this deception game, you have to be ready with. It's crazy. So this is the first thing that I'll tell you that I've never done this. This is my first ever fiction book I've written.
Really?
Fiction book called The Academy. That painting right there, if you look at the painting, you'll see 8 characters. It's myself in the middle with Ayrton Senna, Formula One race car driver, whom I named my daughter after him. Tupac is to my right. Then you got the Shah of Iran, Milton Friedman, MLK, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, and Einstein in a bank vault all speaking, debating two books that's on the table, which the two books on the table are Atlas Shrugged and Communist Manifesto. Okay, and they're very opposite books on what they're debating. But the whole premise of that painting when I did it 7 years ago is, what if there was a society that can develop the next layer of leaders that understand the game of deception, power, manipulation, division, all these things that happen. And what if there was a society that brought these types of leaders up? Obviously, this is a fiction book. And in this book, it's a character that gets recruited to the secret society that's been around for a couple thousand years. And you go to the bottom of this, organization, the academy, where you have access to people. Imagine you can have a 3-hour conversation with Hitler and ask him, hey, today, if you wanted to take over the world, how would you do it? And based on the technology that they have, he'll tell you exactly how to do it. How valuable is that to you? Imagine you can have a conversation with Marilyn Monroe, like literally sitting there doing a podcast with Marilyn Monroe. What if you can have a conversation with putting up a Karl Marx and a, Ayn Rand and having them debate? How cool would that debate be? This institution has that technology, and the book is filled with a ton of stories, conflicts, how they're challenging and debating these types of topics. But it's about shaping the mindset of younger people to be ready. If you're going to be a future leader here, here's the power plays they're going to use against you. What do you do with that? So anyways, this book is coming out in third week of September. The Academy, you can find it on Simon & Schuster or Amazon.com. The Academy. First fiction book. People are going to read the book. They're going to think I'm crazy. They're going to say, how the hell, do you write a fiction? I've been working on this thing for 13 and a half years. I told my guys, I will launch this book after my earnout is done with the insurance company. My earnout ended 3 weeks ago, and I said, we're launching this book. So,
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's kind of weird because it's a business book. I'm comfortable talking business. This is creative. The market's going to read it and say, does Pat do shrooms and smoke weed late night and start writing? Because some of the stuff in the book, you're going to say, this guy's lost his mind. But excited to see how the market reacts to the book.
Yeah,
That's sick.
with all your success and this book coming out, do you ever talk about it, or do you have anything in your previous years that you do regret?
Sure. I mean, it's a list of them. But to me, and this message has been very consistent the more I think about it, is trying to force people to do things they don't want to do, especially with friendships, man. Like, how you talked about that guy?
Yeah.
He makes $250,000 but is miserable.
Yeah.
That was like why don't you want to live this life? Why don't you want to go after your dreams? Some people just don't want to do it. Versus, what do you want to do? And let's see what we can do with this, right? We try sometimes to force people to do things they don't want to do, and making those mistakes early on, and I made that mistake a lot early on in my 20s, even in my early 30s. That probably helped me know that that's not going to work with your kids. You can't do that with your kids, because your kids ain't going to do what you want to drive them to do. You're going to push them away. I learned that very early. Probably one of the most powerful phrases that I realized 90% of my headaches in my life came from this. The fastest way to create an enemy is to try to force them to change. Fastest way. You want to make an enemy? Force somebody to change. Because what you're telling them is you're not good enough. Versus having the conversation with them and let them tell you who they want to be, and then ask them, what do you think you need to do to have this life become a reality? But they're saying it. Versus, no, here's what you got to do. There's always got to be the choice of what the individual has to do. So style of communication, delivery of message, that was a lot of work on learning how to give the message in a more subtle way where the person has to choose what they want to do.
Yeah. How many people have you had come to you that ask for advice? You take your time with them, and then they just don't do anything with it?
90%.
Does that ever bother you?
No, not at all.
Why do you think that is? If a guy like you, who's as successful as you are, someone has a chance to get advice from you, and they just hear what you say,
People
goes
only
in
wake up. People only wake up when they wake up themselves.
Yeah, I mean, a part of this is right. So the part with life is, when I was younger, my fear was when I went to the Army, my dad's going to die. He's not going to meet my kids. Because I never met his dad. So I'm like, Dad, I want to make sure my kids meet him, right? So that was my fear. So when I got out of the Army and I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, in life, you either change intentionally or you change by crisis happening in your life, okay? Most of the time we change because of a girl broke up with us, Somebody ripped us off. You got backstabbed. You lost everything. You changed because shit hit the fan, right? If you can change intentionally without crisis happening to you, you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of everybody by 99% of people you're ahead of. It's not even a question. Because almost everyone I saw in the last 20 years of business, the guys that change, they change after something shitty happened to them. But the guys that change intentionally, and every 90 days to 180 days, you don't recognize them because they recreate themselves, you're almost like, I saw this guy 6 months ago. He's not the same. You don't see him for 6 months. Man, he's changed again. You don't see him 6 months. This guy's somebody. He's going places. Because every 6 months, he's a new human being. He's still the same. He's humble. But there's something that's going on with this guy. He's different. That's a person that's changing intentionally. Not changing because the market's forcing you to change. You know, you're changing because you're setting the pace for everybody else. If you're able to do that, it's not easy to do. Because the more you win, what do people say about you? Oh my God, dude, you guys are killing it. Oh, I saw it the other day and da-da-da-da-da. Oh, what the it's amazing, bro. That girl, this, and you almost have to be like, yeah, yeah, got it. Boom, out. Right? Out. And then, PBD, what do you want to do? Kyle, what are we doing? Stanley, where are we going? What are you doing? Here's where, pursue this, right? That's not easy to do. Very hard to do.
I think that's a problem people have too, is when you have too many people telling you, yo, you're doing well, that's when you can get lazy too. When everyone's gassing you up like, yo, you're crushing it, and then people either respond with, yo, I'm good, or there are people that just keep going. It's a big separator.
But it's everywhere.
What like for you, like what did you ever want to stop, or did you have an ultimate goal you wanted to get to, or you just keep going?
Oh, I'm going till the day I die. I love this game. Oh my God. You have no idea how much I love this game. Like, you know how you're kind of like, oh my God, poor me. I'm working so hard. Look at, I freaking love this game. It's just a very interesting game because I'm now running 8 companies. One of them I sold and my 2 years is done. So I'm just playing the role of a chairman of the board, advisor, stuff like that. Now I'm operating these other 8 companies. We're back to being a startup again. Chaos, problems, HR, growth, all this stuff. But it's so much fun. And we're doing a podcast. And we're doing, and 4 kids. And like this is but if you're enjoying the game, and you're going, like Steve Jobs would say, if you go 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and you're miserable going to work every day, you have to really ask yourself, am I at the right place? Am I doing the right thing I'm supposed to be doing? But if you're going, you're like, no, I'm good. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. And again, listen, vision, long term. I got kids, right? Everything I'm building with all my companies, is for one day, the holding company to have so many different businesses that you can pick and choose what you want to do. If you're a lawyer, there's a place for you. If you want to go into real estate, there's a place for you. If you want to be talent, there's a place for you. If you want to be a director, producer, there's a place for you. If you want to be the money manager, there's a place for you. That's the whole thing where later on kids can be. There's a family on this side. If you guys leave, if you drive all the way around to go to this house right here, the one right here that I was showing you, the 3 houses next to it, it's a family. It's a billionaire family. 2 sons, each have 4 kids. Mom and dad started a company. Now they got 7,000, 8,000 employees. They live here. Youngest son lives here. Oldest son lives here. They're right next to each other. There's something about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's something about that, man. That's like kids growing up together, grandkids growing up together. You get a chance to see them. That to me is a lot of fun.
How would you respond if your son came to you and said, hey, Dad, I don't want anything to do with any of your companies. I want to live a completely separate life?
We talk about that today. We actually talk about that today with them. And Dylan, my youngest son, says, Dad, I want to go into sports. And after I'm done with sports, I want to be a coach. I want to manage a sports team. No problem. Do I have to be in business with you? Not at all. And I tell him, buddy, I'd love for you to be in business with me, but you don't have to be. The most powerful statement you can tell your kids over and over and over again. I don't think any phrase is more powerful than this to your kids. I don't think. I could be wrong, but this is mine. Last night, my oldest son, I said, listen, here's what you got to realize, buddy. You can get straight Fs. You can get expelled from school. You can do nothing useful with your life. It's not going to change my love for you. I love you. Will I be disappointed? Yes. Will I be hurt because I want to see your dreams become a reality? Yes. I said, but the love will never change. You get straight A's, you go to the best college, you build a movie that wins the most Oscars or whatever you do, or you get straight F's. My love is the same. Because what that allows your kids to do, just think about that feeling right now when right now you're processing that statement, right? Imagine your mom or your dad says something like that to you. Or maybe you're saying, that's exactly what my mom said to me, right? What does that make you feel like? You're like, okay, I can play loose. Great. But I need to perform. But if I don't, I still got the love. That's an insurance policy that allows you to go, right? Allows you to go. But at the same time, the other day, we're talking, and I'm like, so guys, I got a question for you. What should happen to daddy's money if I die? And my oldest son says, oh, it should go to me. I'll manage it. Then my youngest son said, wait a minute, how about me? It says, you're actually right. We should do 50-50. And then my oldest daughter, 8 years old, she's like, how about me? And they're like, yeah, we'll take care of you. But I want my own money. So then I'm like, okay, what if one of you guys becomes a drug addict? What do you mean? What if one of you guys just is a bad sibling and all you want to do is party, do drugs, and be irresponsible? That person shouldn't get anything. Okay, good. You guys agree? I agree. What if somebody does this? What if somebody marries somebody that only marries you for the money and because they want to get the money from the family, and they're marrying the family because they want your money, you're part of the state? No, we're not going to do that. They're going to have to be with me because they love me. I said, okay, so that's good. We just wrote out a living trust right there.
Yeah.
Makes sense? So these types of conversations you have early on. I asked the other day, hey, what do you do if your sister, Senna, she's 16 years old, her boyfriend slaps her in the face? And you see the brothers are like, what do you mean? Well, what would you do if that happens? What do you think is the right thing to do?
Beat that guy's ass.
And it's so interesting seeing what they're saying.
What was their response?
Let me tell you, they both went there. Yeah. One guy's eyes got like watery, like, oh, he just, so I'm looking, I'm like, listen, this is just a question. It's not happening, guys. I'm just asking you a question. How would you handle this? And what if she still wants to go back to him? What if she says it was my mistake? I deserve to get slapped. What if your sister's trying to keep that away from us because she wears glasses? What if she puts makeup on, but because you saw it in school? How do you handle it? It's like, well, I think we would first have to handle it among siblings. We would talk to each other. But if it gets out of hand, I need to bring you in. It was such an interesting dynamic. But this is the part. So people will ask and say, Pat, do you have a photographic memory? I say, I don't know if I do or not, but I tell you what game I play all the time. What's that? Here's the game I play. The moment I'm done here with this meeting, I leave. The first thing I do in my mind is try to restate as many facts as I can remember from this meeting. So I'm like, okay, he said this. He said this. He said that. I offered him drinks. He said no. I offered him a second time. He said no. I said, do you want to eat something? No. But when I said, do you want Celsius? Or he says, interesting. No, I'm good. Protein. I offered, right? Boom. Each Jimmy. When Jimmy came in, Jimmy's like, hey, let me tell you, the guys are running late because I told him to get back and send something. That's my fault, right? Jimmy had your back, and he told you. Jimmy played a stud. Yeah, so
that's a big play from him.
Yeah, he was quiet from the beginning. Do you want anything?
Guy knows how to get out of a pickle.
He didn't say anything, right? He was very, very quiet, right, when he was here.
You offered him something to eat?
Yeah, he's like, he's good. I said, do you need to use the bathroom? No. So
don't let him use the bathroom. You don't want that. I'm telling you right now. Yeah.
So, but what's the point? So this whole game is the memory game. Like, let me see how much of it I can remember. Let me see if I can remember 100% of it, right? The game I play with the kids is the following game. It's such a great game. You should play with your kids when you have them.
So going off that, it seems now like, and I've noticed this with other people that we've done that have kids that are successful.
Yeah.
They seem very more involved in their kid's life with everything else, all these exterior shit going on in schools. Like Gavin Newsom passed that bill about not having to tell the parents.
Yeah.
If a kid tells a teacher, I'm not sure what my gender is, or I want to become trans. I don't know what he said exactly, but something along those lines.
The fact that if somebody wants to go through the surgery, they don't have to tell the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw that was just passed in California. Like, how do you respond to that, and what do you think of that?
What do I think about Newsom and what he's doing?
That policy specifically.
Oh, that's exactly why I don't live there. That's exactly why I don't live there. So You want to come out with policies like that, you're going to lose family people like me. I'm not going to raise my kids there. No problem. Well, how about the fact that in Florida there's hurricanes? I would much rather live in a state that has hurricanes, but doesn't try to force LGBTQ to the kids, than live in a state without hurricanes, but is going to sit there and confuse the hell out of my kids. I'm not okay with that, because what age are we the most confused? At 45? At 35? At 25? Or 13, 14, 15? So why are you confusing kids at 13, 14, 15 while they're already confused? Leave them alone. If somebody wants to make a decision later on in life, let them do it. If at 25 you want to change it up and all of a sudden be like, I think I like this, no problem. At 12 years old, no, you don't, bro. You're good. Stay here. We're confusing at an age of most confused. Have you guys read the book Anxious Generation that just came out a couple months ago? It's a phenomenal book to read. Does anybody here have kids or no? You guys got kids? Nobody's got kids? Okay. It's a great book to read because he talks about the challenges girls go through and how to help parents that they're going through this phone chat. Like, for example, when we were in Hamptons a couple weeks ago, I had a couple guidelines I created for us when we're going out to dinner. Every time we're having dinner, everybody give your phones, put it at the table over there. Everybody put their phones away. For 3 hours, we actually spoke to each other. And it was so funny because every time you want to get like, what year did this happen? We're all going like this. We're all going like this. And we're like, oh shit, let me go get the phone. Nope, just talk. By the second week we're together, everybody is like, can't wait to put the phone aside. Then Anxious Generation says, that's some of the things you got to do. Another thing talks about is parents who give their girls an iPhone at night. Okay, you give your kid, you decide to give your 14, 15, 16-year-old girl a phone. No problem. Guess what? What? At 8 o'clock, you have a safe. All the kids bring their phones. They put their phone in a safe. You close it up. 7 o'clock in the morning when they got to go back to school, here's your phone. He says, you got to take the kid's phone away from 8 till 7 in the morning. Great idea. Why? Because kids sit there late at night on their phones till midnight. Take that away. All these things he talked about, how we're raising the next greatest anxious generation. Then one guy's doing a podcast with him, asks him the most interesting question. He says, politically, which political family raised more anxious kids? Democrats that are your parents or conservatives that are your parents? He says, oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
He says, who? Parents on the left raise more anxious kids. Sure. Parents on the right raise more kids that are calm and relaxed and enjoying themselves. He says, so which one are you? He says, oh, I'm on the left. He says, since you've done the research and that's what it shows, why don't you become a conservative? He says, I can't. I'm part of academia. I'm on this side. His research revealed these guys raise better kids that are calmer. These guys raise kids that are anxious. He is still staying on this side. Mm-hmm. That argument gets even more weight because he's not changing his position. But he's telling you the other party raises better kids. Why? It's just predictable values and principles that the kids can be like, all right, this is where I'm at. This side confuses the hell out of you. But that's the part, like in California, kids are anxious. Kids are nervous.
Yeah.
Kids are questioning all these things. That doesn't produce, the right behavior.
This is a crazy question. You don't even have to answer it.
Go for it.
In 10 years, your daughter comes to you and says, hey, Dad, I all these other girls are doing it. I want to start an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
How do you react?
How old is she?
We'll say 21.
I can't do nothing about it. If by that age you choose to do it and I haven't given you enough of an argument in a life lessons to choose not to sell your body like that, it's my failure. I can't do anything with you. Do your thing. What am I going to do? Nothing I can do about it. I'll come home. I'll be very disappointed. I'll be heartbroken. I'll be annoyed and I'll be upset. But guess what? She's got to make the choice. There's a lot of choices I made as a young adult that my dad watched me and he let me make them. He's like, you're making a bad choice. I know. And then we get into a fight and I would still do it. And I'd watch him. I'm like, I wonder how you handle it. And I'd watch my dad. I'm like, man, this guy's freaking taking it. I could see the pain, but he would still make me breakfast. And I just got out of the army. I'm 21 years old. I see him, doesn't say anything to me, but he'd still make my best dish. So the great equalizer when we do stupid shit as kids to hurt our parents is overflow love. Because that feeling is like, dude, this is what unconditional love is really all about? Oh my God. Forget about it. Screw this thing that I just did for a week. I'm back. I'm glad you made the decision. But Won't be easy.
I want to come to one of the dinners where we put our phones away.
Do it. You're invited. I think
You got the conference coming up. We might stop by later this week.
It's great.
That's
Yeah.
or next week, right?
Next week. Yeah, we're gonna have The Rock will be there. By the way, the after party will be sick if you guys want to come to. We're gonna shut down the Flagler Mansion in Palm Beach, and The Rock is actually will be speaking that morning as well. So if you come Friday night and Saturday morning, so that is the time to come, because Saturday night will be the party, and Saturday morning is when The Rock's gonna be there. And yeah, we're going to have people coming in from 60 plus countries, nearly 10,000 people in a room. We're going to go through a 200-page manual together on how to go from zero to selling your business for a few $100 million to everything else. It's a very unique way that we put this business conference. Started off 5 years ago with 400 people, and it grew to what it is today. But yeah, it's going to be content creators. Obviously, everyone's going to know who you guys are, but I think Saturday will be a great session for you guys to attend.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We'll put all those links in the description. Link to the academy in the
Awesome.
description. All your links. We gotta just have you on every like 6 to 8 months. It's always
Yeah.
dope.
This is
I
always
always
fun,
leave
man.
like fired up. You get
Yeah.
you get everything of the spectrum with Pat.
Funny and learning everything.
Well, I tell you guys, if you guys do on the election night, do you guys know where you're going to be on election night? Do you
I
have
hope
any?
partying with Trump. Honestly,
That's actually, by the way, that's probably the number one place to be. The number two place to be is going to be with us when you hear what we're doing.
right.
But if that's the number one choice you have, listen, we're not going to beat that.
if we
You
get
gotta be
invited,
with it.
yeah.
You got to go there, yeah. But the number two, when we tell you what we're going to be doing, you're gonna want to be there.
All
It'll
right.
be wild.
All right. Well, this is awesome.
Patrick,
Oh man,
Thank
this
you.
was
Thank
great.
you, bro.
Thanks, guys.
PVD.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good stuff, boys.